That's it. Give a couple minutes. We got a little bit. Is it people? No.
I don't know. Where's the
Little thing up there.
Yeah. Chat. Oh, and your volume.
That's because I took my AirPod.
That's off. How do you know I'm on?
It should say there. Is anybody there yet? If you're there, put something in the comment window so we can see you.
It says 2, I think. Facebook.
That's just a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have 3 people. Now.
Okay.
Tell us hi if you're there. We're just waiting for people to come in just to make sure.
Make sure it's over.
Oh, Lori's here. Hello from North Dakota.
All right, April.
Hi, Lori.
All right.
All right,
Woo,
sounds
okay.
good. We're using this new live streaming software, so we're still kind of getting used to it. But glad you're all here. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Cindy,
I'm Christine.
and we're here to do our part 2 of our fluid pour jars.
I know. I was absent on part 1 too.
I know I did the part 1 without her,
Yeah.
but we actually did this together. I'm like, hey, I have a cool idea. Let's try it. So, and then I sent her a picture. She was on vacation. I sent her a picture of these jars.
No, when you were doing them, I was here. Remember?
Oh,
and then I
right.
ran over and we made
Yeah.
them, but the actual Facebook Live. I was
Oh,
not
right,
here.
right. I texted you and I'm like, hey, look at these cool jars we got in.
Right, and I
And
came
then-
running over.
yeah.
I was like, obviously,
Yeah.
to see them.
So anyway, they're really cool. So they look like this. It's our fluid pour jars where you take paint and you mix different paint colors, swirl it around in the jar, and you get this cool effect. No 2 jars are the same. They're
Right,
really
exactly.
awesome. And the great thing is you can use any size, any kind of jar really, because like these times with the glass being on such shortage and stuff like that, people are having to improvise, get in something that they normally wouldn't sell, but then you can make it
Right.
spectacular.
Any clear jar, anyways.
Yeah, any clear jar works really well. So we've tested out a bunch of them, whatever. So
Although I do like the ones with the lip because it makes when you're swirling a little bit easier to stay in
it
a good area.
It does. So we got a bunch of questions. So we already did this. We got a bunch of questions on them and stuff like that. So we want to answer all your questions. But first, what we're going to do for those of you that didn't watch our first one, we're going to do the whole process again. Christine's going to make a fabulous jar, demo the process for us. We'll show you how it's done. And then we'll answer the existing questions. Of course, if you have any new questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we will get to them too. So yeah, everybody's coming on now. Tammy's on. Hi, Tammy.
Hey, all right, sounds good.
Okay, so we are starting. Show them what it's a perfectly normal jar.
Yes, this is our 20-ounce elevation terrace
Elevation.
jars. It's a
Yeah.
thicker glass.
And we have like a jillion of them, so there's no shortage on those.
Yeah. All right. What colors do I want to do?
Pick fun ones. Yeah. So she has a jar. She put it on the scale because usually we kind of weigh out the paint so you don't put too much paint in there. So what she's going to do, she's actually going to put in different colored paints into the bottom of the jar. You'll be able to see it all as it goes along. Different color paints, and then she's going to swirl them to get that cool marble effect. So first she's got to obsess over the colors and get just the right one.
I feel like we haven't done this combo yet.
That was
So,
fun, and that looks
yeah.
fall-like.
So we're doing like an ivory, deep teal, and smoky pink.
Mhm.
All right.
So these are, I bought like every paint in the world when I was doing this project to see how they worked. So these are craft store paints. They're just, this is a fluid pour paint.
Yeah, it's Art Deco fluid.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So
But we have played with like different paint samples. So we have this room color. We have lots of different colors and stuff like that. So we played with our old paint cans to see if we could come up with a formula to make our own fluid paints, and we actually did. So pretty much anything around here that's paint is now getting used for fluid pour jars. What we do to make it, the ratio is whatever paint you have. Now this would depend on your thickness too. So typically regular paint is a bit too thick to get to be fluid and stuff like that. So you have to add something to it to make it more fluid. You don't want to add water or it gets watery. Your paints look like watercolors. They're not sharp and vivid anymore. You don't want to add alcohol. I thought alcohol might be a good idea, but then makes it watery. So okay.
Put them all in there, kind of in their own area.
Yep. So the paints are in there. So she's, yeah, there you go, sideways. She's tipping it sideways.
Yeah, so tip it sideways so you can kind of see the paints coming.
You just want it to like all the colors to blend together and it to kind of ooze around in there. You can keep it separate like she did and have like more larger distinct patterns in there, or you can put the colors in and kind of swirl them up with a little stirring stick or something and then.
Yeah, so you want
Move
it
them
to
around
like
her.
evenly go around so the bottom wasn't going, so we'll come up to the top a little bit more before we keep turning. If you want it to stay.
And like she said, the easier jars to do these are ones that just have a little bit of a neck on them.
Yeah, because
So
then you
that
have
the
a
paint stays in
guideline.
there.
You have a little more of a guideline.
It's a guideline and the paint stays in there too.
Yeah, it's true. When you're doing like a tumbler or something, they don't have a guideline and like say one area is not full and you're trying to make it come down and then also there's paint everywhere.
That's a fun combo.
Right?
Ooh, what scent would go good with that? Green?
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking watermelon. That's not very Christmas or holiday themed, but so you kind of have to move it back and forth. You see how like the bottom part has a lot more than the top part. So I'm trying to get up towards the top a little bit so we're a little more even coated before we're continuing down. And again, like Cindy was saying, they're all the unique things. You can't really mess it up. You may not go
Yeah,
exactly what you're going for, but you can't mess them up. And then when we were playing with them earlier too, right? We were playing with some smaller jars and it was kind of hard to get everything across. So I actually used the paintbrush to move some of the paint in there. So that way I can do.
So these are the smaller jars that we did earlier, so. That one you didn't have to move with the paintbrush, so. That was
No,
yes.
that's the one I painted.
All
I
right.
might need to add some more paint to this too.
So this is the one she did the paintbrush with. Move it in front of the camera. So you see it's just more subtle, still cool inside and stuff like that. But we did these this morning and you can see that it's still wet inside. It's not ready to make a candle in or anything like that. You want to give them a good long time to dry. So some things I did try when I was playing with paint formulas. So typically when you're mixing your paint, depending on the thickness of the paint, you're going to want to use at least 20% of, we just used our clear gloss coat because what this is a very flexible, fluid kind of clear. So you want to add that to your paint. It won't change the color or anything like that. It's just going to make it fluid enough to go through the jar. If your paint isn't fluid enough, if it's too thick, it doesn't swirl like that. Like it won't go around the jar. It doesn't move that much. It's meant to be. Most paints, I think they make them dripless. So if they're not dripless, they won't drip through your jar and make the fluid pour either. I tried adding water to it to see what would happen. That was actually one of our questions. Can you add water to kind of make your paints more fluid? And what it makes the colors watery. So if you can see that, like you can see a lot of the jar see-through and stuff like that. It just didn't coat nicely. It was too watery. So then I tried adding.
This is just regular acrylic paint, right? That you're talking about?
Yeah, just regular acrylic paint. Yeah. Yeah, just you want to get it to the right consistency. It should be pretty, like, I'm trying to think of what would the consistency be on that. Not a milkshake. That's a bit too thick.
No, it's too thick.
Yeah. Like a Go-Gurt, like those shakeable
Yeah,
yogurts.
like
It's like Go-Gurt consistency. So those shakeable yogurts that you can shake and then drink and stuff like that. So, yeah, and it should go out nice. So again, this is just clear. It's sticky. We use this for our carved candles to go on the outside to give it a nice gloss finish and a nice shiny appearance at the end. So it'll work in your jars too. Since it's clear, you can also do fun things like glitter. So this, I just put some of the gloss coat on the inside, the sticky stuff, and then put glitter on there. I put just a label on the top to kind of keep the glitter in, and then I swirled the glitter around and made a glitter jar, but it's cool and sparkly on the outside, as you can see. Very, very cool. So you can do that with it as well.
I'm getting there. I had to add some paint as we went along.
Oh, that's a fun side.
Yeah, because I added the paint as I went because I was like running out. So
Right.
that side has a little more interesting.
So we always find when we're doing these, we're kind of impatient, so we don't want to wait days for it to dry. So you don't want to put too much paint in there. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting a
takes a
long
while.
time for it to dry on the bottom. So we tend to go a little light on the paint, and if needed, then we add more. So just a little more to the bottom. So you can see in her jar,
I'm getting there.
she's getting there. Yeah.
The last little bit's hard because you can see I have a gap here and then a gap here. I don't know. So there's the gaps on the side. I'm like waiting for it to like come out. So I'm trying to get that filled.
Anybody have any ideas on a suggestion for a scent for that one?
Oh yeah, you could definitely use a paintbrush at this point too to like let it move.
Is it weird that I'm thinking like fresh cut roses because you have like the rose pink color,
that'd be nice.
and then you have the green for the green, and fresh cut roses is strong yet beautiful, kind of like your jar. So yeah.
Or rose quartz and passion petals. That'd be another good one.
Yeah, rose quartz and passion petals, that would be a good one. So. And probably any of our like inner peace, positive mindset, any of our feel goods would go good with that because the colors just blend really nice together and stuff. So
it's not a quick process.
No,
as you can see.
It's not quick. It's more artistic. So,
it is.
But they're going to be unique. Nobody else is going to have these like you. So everybody does their own. Even if there's other people doing it, on the internet or whatever. Yours is your own unique one. So yeah. So get to a couple more questions while we're waiting for this. So the first question is, do you need to seal the jars? So after your paint's in here and stuff like that, do you need to seal the jars? Or is it good to make candles in? It is good to make candles in. You don't need to put anything else on them or anything like that. There's no real sealer that you need because it sticks to the jar itself. So you don't need to do that. How long until you can pour wax or make candles out of these jars? Well, you want to wait until the bottom is completely dry. So what we do is just usually touch it and see if it's still tacky, see if it's still wet or anything like that. If your paint is not perfectly dry, then it's going to mix with the wax, and you don't want that because paint's a pigment. It'll screw up the whole candle. So you want to wait till they're good and dry. You can even put put a fan on these once they're done or whatever, so that way it dries it up a little bit. I tried, because I had this bright idea that like after you're done, to get the paint to dry quicker, just spray it with alcohol, right? Spray it with 99% isopropyl alcohol. It should dry the water right up out of it. Well, then it made the colors runny, so you don't want to do that. So alcohol doesn't really speed it up. A fan works better. But wait till the paint's good and dry until you put the candles in it and stuff like that. So another one, somebody asked how to get a clean line on the inside of the jar. So if you only wanted to paint your jar like halfway up or something like that, how would you get a clean line? So we did a little bit of experimenting with this one this morning. So this one we used tape, what is that called? Painter's tape. Right here we use the blue painter's tape. You can see, it has somewhat of a clean line, but it's a little bit jagged in there. So not bad, but we wanted it to be like super, super clean. So then we tried masking tape and we got about the same result. So whatever tape you're going to choose, like you could just tape the inside of the jar, and the jagged result doesn't really, that doesn't bother me too much. I still think it looks nice, but you can just tape the inside of the jar. And then as you fluid pour, it'll only go up to the tape, like wherever the tape is and stuff. So
yeah, so we tried masking and painter's tape.
Masking and painter's tape, got about the same result with either one. So I would think things like Scotch tape would be a little hard to pull off, and you may get some stick to it. We wanted something that was kind of removable. You could always, I guess, take a little razor blade and take the paint off.
That's what I was thinking too. You probably chip it off.
Just as like if you're painting your windows and then you get paint on your windows and stuff like that. So you could definitely do that with it too. So this one we did this morning, so you can see inside it's still moving. We wouldn't want to pour a candle into this right now, so would not be successful. Yeah. So that's still wet inside. I usually give them a good couple days to dry. So if you put a fan on them, it'll probably dry. And it's warm, you'll probably dry them a little bit quicker and stuff. So
yeah, we did these over the summer too with all the humidity. So it definitely took a little bit longer just because of humidity in the air.
Yeah.
So the winter they might dry a little faster.
And then we got a question. The paint won't chip. I guess if you gouge the inside of them, like if you took them and gouged the inside, you could get them to chip, but it won't chip off just by pouring a candle into it. It certainly won't do that. So didn't have that. Our acrylic's kind of flexible too. And if you make your own and add the candle gloss to it, it's going to be super flexible. So that shouldn't chip at all. Brand of paint being used doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure that it's fluid enough. So add, the thing, if you're using regular paint from there's leftover paint in Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever, in the section where people don't want it in the custom paints or any type of other acrylic, You just want to add this to it to get it more fluid. And then in craft stores, they do sell fluid pour paints too. And of course, a premium. It's cheaper to make your own. But pretty much anything, if you have any left over in the house, you can use that too. You just want it to be thin enough to disperse in your jar and be fluid. So, all right. And then does it affect the wax or the fragrance oil? We haven't had any fragrance oil that really separated or anything, did anything funny with the paint on the inside. What we did notice, so Christine made a few candles, wicked the jars, put the largest wick in we could, like completely overwicked it.
Yeah, more so this one. So this one,
Yeah.
we're trying to think of all the things you could do to mess
We were
this
trying
up.
to set it on fire because that was
Yeah.
another one of our questions. Does this catch on fire? That's paint. Why doesn't it catch on fire? So we were
Yeah.
trying to set it on fire.
Yeah, so you can see obviously with all the
Yeah.
the soot there
Mhm.
that I had a very heavy wick in there, and I had it
Right.
burning for
Way
at
too
least
long.
12 hours.
Yeah.
It was outside.
Yeah.
But as you can see with that, there are little bubbles in the paint now because of that. It's kind of hard to see on the screen.
Yeah. So when the
But-
jar got really, really, really hot,
Yeah.
the paint did bubble a
It
little.
did
Yeah,
do.
there's one right there. I don't know. Yeah, right up there.
Yeah, so you can see it did bubble off a little bit with just with
Mhm.
having a hot jar. I poured, so I know people were worried about when you're pouring the wax in and if the paint was gonna come off or whatever that. So I actually poured this at 210 degrees with the wax.
Wow. Okay.
So I was really testing it.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
completely fine. The only time the bubbles started happening was after I was burning it for like 12 hours straight,
Mhm.
and with a very hot wick, obviously.
Mhm.
So I caught a moth in it too.
A moth fluid.
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me. So.
Yeah, I did this one, our new dark cherry preserve fragrance, and it was, I was gonna burn inside originally, and then it was just so strong I put it outside because I couldn't handle it.
It's really nice. It smells
Yeah,
very good.
it smelled great, but I couldn't do it. It was too much. And then so this one we did the autumn leaves in. So this one I did wick a little bit higher too. Again, you can see a little bit of the black soot on there. So this one we hadn't noticed anything. I've been burning it for days upon days. Hadn't noticed anything, and then just recently got a little bit of the bubbles on there. But again, this one is also overwicked. The one we originally tested on was not overwicked and did not bubble. So I think as long as
And
your
that candle's
wick is
probably
fine.
a few weeks old too. So
Yeah.
at least we have some of the other ones are like a couple months old from like when we did.
Yeah,
our
when we first did it,
broadcast.
yeah.
It doesn't seem to that the wax or the fragrance doesn't eat into it. That we've noticed. That's not
No.
saying that like another one won't. So
Yeah, I don't know if maybe like you just citrus or something, just because citrus tends to be a little.
yeah.
Heavier or
Sometimes they like
something,
ether or cinnamon. I like
Yeah, I also
ether.
did heavily scent those as well. I did went on the heavy side just to see if anything would happen, and
Mhm.
nothing did. So
Yeah. All right. Now my favorite question that Christine's going to demonstrate: will the wick still stick to the bottom of the jar with my paint?
Yes.
So she is going to test that. Now you need to bring everything out in front of everybody here.
all right,
No
wick.
tricks.
Yeah, wick. A little tape that has double side on it. I'm gonna do that. All right. So paint it off sometimes on top. There we go. All right. So this beautiful jar, as you can see, painted. It's very nice. All right. I don't know if I'll be able to do this way. See how well I can center it this way. There we go. Look, it's still there. I honestly think it sticks better in here than just the regular
Can you
glass.
lift it up? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, we can swing it around.
Yeah.
So look at that. The wick sticks to the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I said. I honestly think it works better with the paint in here because it's a little more of a tacky surface
Yeah,
versus the
it's
glass.
a porous surface versus like
Yeah.
shiny, solid,
Yeah,
very
works come off.
solid.
So it does. Yep.
Yeah.
Works great. Doesn't come off. So
I'm gonna make me a candle in that. So.
yeah. So now it's ready to go.
That's
It
nice.
might not be exactly centered because I was trying
Okay.
to demonstrate, but
It's pretty close though. Will this affect the wick when burning or melt from the heat? So again, we showed you what happens when you light the candle when it's grossly overwick, grossly over-scented. Everything went wrong with that candle that it should have caught on fire and didn't. But nothing happens there. So too much heat, it gets a little.
I think
just
we're
a
gonna
little-
try to set it on fire with like a actual
Mhm.
flame.
I can do that still.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, do we have a lighter over here? Do you want me to grab the other one?
Yeah, why don't you grab the long
Okay.
one from in there?
Yep.
So, and then somebody asked, will this work with all waxes, including gel? And the answer is yes. We put pretty much everything in there. Like once the acrylic's dry, it's more of it's hard at that point, so nothing's been eating through it. We've tried coconut wax, we've tried soy wax, we tried paraffin wax, gel, just about everything we could think of here. So, and it all seems to work well with it. And I got to the one, can you add glitter? So yes, you can. This one, wait a minute. I did one. Oh, this one. So I did this glitter glass. So I put a little bit of that stuff that makes it fluid, the candle gloss in there. And I did this glitter glass, but then I wanted to see like what would happen if you put a bit of glitter in the jar before you poured the wax into it. So I did that on this one. And you can see the glitter in there just a little bit, like not too much. So the opaqueness of the paint actually kind of took over the glitter when I did it that way. So if I went with a bigger particle size or something like that, but this was just, our cosmetic glitter was the same gold glitter that's in there. Yeah, this being a little more glitter in there too, maybe it held up a little better. And let me get some of the questions today. If you guys have any questions on this, feel free to post them in there. I'm going to just scroll through these and see what we have. All right, scent things. Ribbon candy smell. That sounds good. Oh, peppermint smell for that one. Yeah, this could be a ribbon candy one. I agree. So, all right. Yes, so we paint the inside of the jar. That way it never peels or chips or anything like that. So look how beautiful. Ooh, that does
Our
look
new
beautiful.
hammer copper lids.
Nice. Okay. So Christine's going to try to set this on fire. You scare me a little.
Let's do a bigger jar.
Let's do that shallow one.
This one?
Yeah, because that way
I
we'll
made
be able to
this
see the
one.
flame.
How do we want to?
Here.
So do you want to hold the jar and I can light the thing?
I'll hold. Can you light that way? Yeah, light from that angle. Where's the camera? I'm going to try to light this jar on fire.
Honestly, it just scares me the
Fire's right on
actual.
I am going to, as soon as the jar gets too hot for me to handle, which is getting very soon.
Yeah, your fingers are the ones.
Yeah. I don't know why I do that stuff to myself.
Yeah, so obviously you can see it's not catching on fire.
Yeah, no fire whatsoever.
I did make a nice.
This has
burn
been
mark in there.
dried. Yeah. Oh, we
But-
did make a burn mark?
Well, yeah. I mean, that was just.
Just at the top.
Yeah, just at the top. I had
So,
literally
just
the
from
flame
the
directly
side.
on
Okay.
from the side. Yeah, but
Gotcha. Yeah,
on the bottom,
it
nothing.
didn't even, it looks beautiful.
not catching on fire.
Yeah, so that didn't catch on fire. Our acrylic is a water-based product, so you can never really catch water on fire. It won't help your candle burn, so don't use it. And it won't burn either. So let's see what other questions we have here. So peppermint patty was the most.
Oh, that'd be
peppermint
nice
patty
in
was the
there.
most commented on
Yeah.
fragrance there. So that would be good. Yeah. Julie says frog tape gives a sharp line, so if you're
Oh,
going
there
for
you go.
that, yeah, frog tape painters. I don't think we use the frog tape brand, but it was still that. So, but I think that's a bit thinner than painter's tape, so that would be good. Thinner, but denser.
Yeah, that's the
Smoother.
painter's tape I had at my house. From
Okay.
my house. So
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
Do you have the video of what kind of paint to use? So if you watch this video again, I mean, it's pretty much any paint. So, but if you watch this video again, we go over that. But any acrylic paint, you don't want to use enamel, you want to use acrylic. So.
Right. And then put in the candle gloss with it.
Mm-hmm. And Alana asks, any wax works? Yes, you can pour pretty much anything in there. So anything you want. We haven't had that. So Nikki asks, is this non-flammable paint? Absolutely. So even when it's wet, it's not flammable. We just try to light it on fire. We failed. So definitely non-flammable. Do you have the videos, including part 1 to view again? Yeah. So we save everything. All of our videos we save in our Facebook page. So you can just go to our page, click on videos, and you'll be able to view any of the past ones and everything too. So this was kind of a recap of that one.
Yeah, we had a lot of questions, a lot of repeat
Mhm.
questions. So is this going to be a lot for me to go through and answer everyone? So we figured and I could answer you, but you might not believe me or whatever. So I figured it's easier to show you that
Right.
they will not light on fire.
Right.
I promise.
Exactly. Plus, it's
Yeah.
always fun when we try to light things on fire.
So
You like that. So anyway, so all right, that's about it for today. Did we miss anything?
I don't
think
so.
we got everything.
You talked
We got
about your
all of our
glitter
questions.
jars
I talked about my glitter
and the ones
jars.
where you did the paint over the glitter.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. Yep,
All right.
did
those are
that.
fun.
So I think we're all set. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. So join us next week for another fantastic live stream. What's it on? I have no idea. We have it on our planning calendar, though, and we will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, I always missed the button.
I hit okay.